So we didn't get much farther. In fact, didn't get any farther on the tank than step 1, which was slosh around the purple power and let it dry out. I've been out of town, and for steps 2 and 3, the instructions say that the tank needs to be above 70 degrees, and it hasn't been above 70 degrees. So that's kind of hindered us in progress as far as sealing the tank. Because once we get the tank installed, then we can get the fuel line installed up to the carburetors, and just everything seems to start coming together after that. So, but we're pressing on. I've got to travel out of town again this week, so we may not have much progress on old Higgins. I've got to go test spaceship parts again. Well, I'm back from testing spaceship parts, and so we're gonna mess with this gas tank because it's above 70 degrees and I'm in town. So let's get to finishing this up so we can get in the car. So the first thing we got to do is seal up the top. The aluminum tape didn't work so great last time, so we're using Gorilla Tape this time. Okay, so basically now we have to just pour the entire contents of the bottle, the etcher, into here, slosh it around, let it sit for 30 minutes, do it again. Move my phone. Hope it doesn't eat my hand off. Makes pressure. I don't know what this stuff is. Most important place it needs to be is on the bottom. So. Water will always sit on the bottom, so this is where I really want it to be concentrated. Have the best bonding. All right, now we let it sit for a half hour. All right, so we just gave the tank its second slosh, so we'll let it sit for a little bit longer, and then we'll get all that etcher out, because the tank has to be completely dry before we do step 3. So we'll let it sit. See you in a little bit. All right, we finished our second slosh and let it sit for an hour. Now we are ventilating to dry it out. So we'll let that sit probably the rest of the day. See how we do. It's got to be completely dry before we can go to step 3. Okay, so here's what it looks like after step 2. I guess it looks a little better. We got it dry, and so now we're going to hit it with the actual sealer. So we'll see what it looks like after that. It's got to, once I do this, it's got to dry for 24 hours. I don't want to get it too close, so I don't know if you can see in there, but it's white. It's very white. You can see it on the outside here. That's what it looks like. I just gotta let it dry. Okay, so it's the next day after sealing the tank, and we're gonna go look at this thing. I will tell you this, if you ever decide to do this, Unfortunately, it rained last night, and so I had to put the tank inside my garage so it would hopefully dry, and it stunk to high heaven, because the gel is actually a MEK based product, and so it stunk bad. I had to end up putting it in the bed of my truck to keep it out of the rain, but keep it out of my garage because it started making my house stink. So just word of warning, if you're gonna have this thing dry in your garage, either ventilate your garage very well, or better yet would just be to leave it outside if you can do that. Like I said, the one time it decides to rain is when I'm trying to dry this tank out. So, but let's go look inside. So that's what it looks like. This sidewall that's not covered very well is because it's not a solid, that's not the solid wall. And I don't know if you can tell down at the bottom that it's tacked in spots, but the lining gel flowed under it to the actual outside, because that thing is like right here. You still got all this part. I don't know if it's expansion or what the deal is with it, but it was tough to get it on the wall. I did okay there on that side, but, and I don't know what the story is with the streaks there. Maybe it was wet, I don't know. All I know is it's better than it was, so we're gonna roll with this. So this stuff is ethanol and alcohol resistant, tolerant, whatever you want to call it. So it'll deal with even the newer fuels, because that's ethanol loves to absorb water. It mixes very well with water. And I've watched videos on other channels where if you want to get the ethanol out of your regular pump gas, you can dump it in that big container and then dump water in it, and the ethanol will bind with the water more readily than it does with the gasoline. And then you just separate it out, because then the water will drag the ethanol to the bottom. So, all right, so that's the latest on tank lining. So thanks for watching.